Hi, I am Kausalya, a language instructor from Center for the Advancement of Language Competence, CALC, UPM. Welcome everyone to the podcast of Telaah Calc. Today's episode is incredibly special to me. Not only we are diving into a book that has been healing so many hearts lately, but today for this session, I have my absolute best friend over here in the studio. Everyone, please welcome my ever-loving sister, Balqis. Balqis, thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes for the session.
Thank you for having me. So how should I address you? MC Leah or Miss Leah?
Just Leah would do.
Okay. So thank you for having me. I am excited and also I'm honored to be a part of this because I'm excited to share what I've been reading lately. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Balqis, today we are breaking down into a book that you have recently finished, which is You Are Loved by Mizi Wahid. Before we dive into a little deeper, could you please tell us a little bit about this book? Who is Mizi Wahid and what is the core message that he's trying to bring?
Okay, so this book is not my recent collection, I would say. So this book is my MCO collection. So it's the book that I always come back to whenever I feel like the issue that has been addressed in this book, I find it happens again to me, so I go back to this book. So this book, You Are Loved, it's from Mizi Wahid, one of my favorite author. So he is a public speaker, motivational speaker, and also Islamic educator. So his book, why I felt drawn to his book and his other works was because he blends with psychological, emotional, and also spiritual wisdom. So,
I see.
So it is what it is. I love by Mizi Wahid.
Okay, so let's narrow down our focus. I know there's one chapter in this book particularly have been your personal interest, which is chapter 18. So let us start with chapter 18. So I think this chapter deals heavily on theme of reclaiming on self-worth and practicing self-forgiveness. So Mizi Wahid have placed so much emphasis on forgiving ourselves before we can truly accept love. So why do you think this step is so crucial?
Okay, so before I go into the further details, I would like to ask you, so have you ever heard of hurt people, hurt others?
Yes, always.
Oh yeah, so that's good. That's the concept we are going for because I think that's the same concept we can apply to ourselves. So when we hurt others or other people hurt us, we demand apology and we demand apology and also we ask forgiveness from others. But why can't we do the same to ourselves? So that's the I would say the breakdown of what I understand from forgiveness from this chapter.
I see. Okay, interesting. He also talks about trap of self-blame. So we always become the biggest critic when we are talking about ourselves. I mean, I do that very frequently. So reading chapter 18, does it make you realize any areas in your own life that you be too unforgiving towards yourself?
Okay, interesting question. Like this question makes me it reminds me of me when I was much younger.
Okay.
Now I would say I'm reaching 30s, so
oh my God, you have mentioned your age.
So I'm reaching 30s, not yet 30, but I would say now I am more peaceful, calmer towards myself. Back then when I was much younger, I am my biggest critic. Like I am known among my friends as someone who is perfectionist. So it is good to be perfectionist, to pay attention to details and to be more attentive to myself and towards others. But the cons would be when you strive to become flawless or spotless, sometimes it brings you to the fall of self-blame, whenever things don't go our way, like especially because I mentioned that I am perfectionist. I want things to be certain way.
Correct.
So whenever things don't go my way, I beat myself up, and it is not a one day process, I would say. So it's a vicious cycle. Like I keep repeating, and when it happened again, I go back to the initial stages. Yeah. So I think that is where the unforgiving phase of my life. So when I was much younger, I think everyone faced the same as well when they were much younger, because I think I told you before, in my 20s I am emotionally turbulent. So, yeah.
I love that word. Okay, so we have learned about self-worth through faith, together with the religion. And then right now, at this era, we are actually consuming a lot more about, self-love through social media. So how do you see the difference between the self-worth that we have learned through faith and religion and the self-love advice that we are consuming in the social media right now?
Okay, so for me, what I view from social media and through God's eyes of self-love, what differs is, I think on social media we curate. Okay, we curate our lives into, if you are successful, if you are independent, if you have these aesthetic things, or how to say, we glorify things. So
True.
To have self-love. But from God's eyes, it is non-conditioned. So we are worth in the God's eyes. We are loved in the God's eyes for who we are as a person, not for what we achieve. So it's the difference would be, one is conditioned on social media, and through God's eyes, it's non-conditioned.
Excellent. Very, very crystal clear explanation. All right. So this book is unique because it has been structured into 21 chapters, right?
Yeah, 21
okay.
chapters.
So it's like a whole journey. So overall, when you're reading it, how did you feel? Was it like a self-help guide, or was it like having a conversation with someone?
It's I would say both, actually.
Both.
Because I mentioned before that Mizi Wahid combines spiritual wisdom with self-help, emotional and psychological aspect of writing.
Okay.
So when I was reading it, I am in my early 20s, and during that time emotionally turbulent. So. And also during the time it was MCO, so we are all caged in our house.
Agreed.
So this book is kind of escape. So I need someone to talk to, but I don't need someone physically to talk to. I think this author really did a really good job. Like this, his writing really touches the bottom of my heart, and
It goes directly to the soul.
yeah, it goes directly to the soul. And really, I think when in turbulence, there is like silent peace in the moment. I would say. I think you must have experienced that. It is in turbulence, but there is one silent moment that we really appreciate. So this is how I would describe this book.
Good. Okay, so out of the massive collection of reminder, is there any specific quote that you would like to highlight, or as it brings close to your home?
Okay, so I quote this exactly from the book, so it relates to the chapter as well. So the quote would be, "You are special just the way you are, okay, but also be humble enough to admit that there is room for improvement." I mean, while we strive for progress and while we strive for progress, we must also be open-hearted to not receive critics, but feedbacks. Yeah, that is what I learned from the book.
Interesting. All right. Okay. So it's more like a warm hug in a book form, from what you are saying. That what I can interpret with. So what actually made you realize that this is the book that you really need to read at the moment?
Okay. So I stumbled upon his writing, I think, from Instagram. Like back then, we have, I think everyone has their own internet personality that they follow.
Correct.
So I found him from my favorite internet personality. So she always go to his classes. So Mizi Wahid is a motivational speaker, so he has classes at his own center. So this particular person goes to his classes, and during that time, because it's MCO, so online classes, so after she went to the classes, she always shares what she learned from it. So whatever take she got from his class, I think, it's relatable. So it kind of makes me want to explore who this person is. So when I stumbled upon his book, it's actually his third book. And I think I have now 4 of his books already. I lost count of how many books he has now. And from the title itself, it makes me want to go deeper into that. So that's why I grabbed this book to be one of my collection during MCO.
Okay, this is my personal question that actually comes in very quick right at the moment. So may I ask, how much did you bought this book?
I think it's 30 plus. Yeah, I don't remember. It's
really affordable. Really affordable. Okay, so we go from looking inwards to chapter 18. So this chapter 18 addresses on anxiety of the unknown. So we're always afraid of something that we don't know. Something is about coming in future. So do you easily get anxious about your future? And how does this chapter 18 gives you a new perspective on that fear?
Okay, so to answer that, yes, I do. I'm going to be a bit more vulnerable with you because you're my bestie. So I may look calm, but I am an overthinker. Like my mind can be easily buzzing with thoughts. Like sometimes when I sit down in my thoughts, I feel like whatever you're thinking sometimes is unnecessary and ridiculous. But that's how my mind works, So I do get anxious because, anxiety comes from thinking way into the future, right? So when we step into the unknown, it's normal. So when I feel anxious, I take it as normal. I acknowledge that it's normal to feel that. But one thing, you have to control the scale of it. I mean, from this chapter, even the title of the chapter itself, never attach your value to people and things. I think that means there is certain extent to how we rely on external factor of the future. So what I learned from this chapter is to just focus on the present. Okay, don't focus on the uncertain. Okay, focus on what you can control.
Yes.
I mean, of course, we want to have certain picture of our future, but just focus on the present. What you do towards the future is matters more than just rely on the bigger picture of the future.
True enough. Okay, another question that actually came in right at the moment. So I just want to ask, if let's say someone who like to read the book, but then they would afraid on their, the level of language that they use. So what do you think? Like for a beginner, would it be okay to read? Is it the language is very difficult to understand?
No, actually, it's the language is accessible with no jargon. Although this author, he is how to say, psychologically, most of his write-up leans towards psychological, but he doesn't use any psychological jargon. So it's really relatable, like day to day. You can just, even for me, sometimes when, for example, I feel insecure, I go back to this book, read the particular chapter, because it's such a breeze to read this book actually.
So that means you are saying that even though we have finished reading this book, then it always can come back and read on particular chapters just to to get a bit.
It's like a manual book of life.
Manual book of life. Very good, very good, very good example and explanation. All right, next about this book. When we are going for each chapters, like is there preview in for each chapters, or is it how do you identify? Okay, if I need to read on something on self-confidence, so which chapter should I go? How do you decide on that?
Okay, so the subtopic of the chapter, it is stated in the content.
Okay.
And also for each chapter, before the author shifts from chapter to another chapter, he will quote his write-up in the last page of the next chapter. Can you get what I mean?
Okay.
So we kind of get the inside of the chapter, the next chapter.
Understood that. Okay, so now back to the content. So in your opinion, how do you think we can encourage someone who struggle with insecurity?
Okay, so this is not just they're saying I'm not an English teacher, so Rome was not built in a day. So that's how we can relate to our self-confidence as well. I think I wouldn't say I'm fully confident now. I mean, I have fair share of not confident and confident. If I'm not confident to that extent, I can, I choose not to go out when I feel I don't want to face the world. It can be like that. I mean, it's a journey. For me, the small things that you do accumulates towards the stage of feeling acceptance to ourselves. For example, for me, what I practice day to day before I go to work, especially, as someone, and another vulnerability point about me, I am an introvert. So to face people, especially we are now teachers, so there are so many of them.
You say that you are introvert, but with us, you are the extrovert, the most extrovert person that we have seen.
That's me being the Gen Z towards you guys. So okay, coming back, I think as an introvert, becoming a teacher, I think the first few months was like mind blowing. I discover a new phase of my life. What I did to overcome it, this is just simple practice that I learned from my friend. So what my friend said, Balkis, you talk to the mirror, like talk to you. So what to talk about? So she said that practice to say only good things to yourself the first thing in the morning. So before I go to work, I have this one big mirror in my living room. So I go to that, I just say good things. For example, if today I wear something I really like, I say, oh, you're so beautiful, like, I mean, gorgeous. Being silly with yourself. And for example, I teach French, so there are many chapters that I have to go further to make the students interested in the chapter. So I said to myself, okay, Balkis, you can do this. The students gonna be okay, so they will find it interesting. I mean, if they are not interested, also it's okay. It's a process. So I say good things to myself. So that's how I overcome the down moments when I feel like
the insecurity.
Insecurities.
Great, that's a great strategy. I think I should take note. So after this, every morning early that I wake up.
Should we put the big mirror in front of our office?
Correct. I think we should put, every time when we clock in and say good things about ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so a major concept that Mizi Wahid brought up was tawakal, which means putting ultimate trust in God. So how does this chapter inspire you to find that perfect balance between working hard for your dream and at the same time completely letting go the stress?
Okay, so the word tawakal is actually in Malay. So the Arabic version is tawakkul. So the meaning is full reliance to God. So I think it's the same concept to any other religion as well. And how to say, instead of tawakkul, for me, instead of relying on your own understanding of the outcome of your action, you put your trust to God. It's also from the same author, Mizi Wahid. He has this book, Letting God. So the catchphrase is let go and let God. I mean, we want to have our best possible choices in life, but we cannot control the outcome, but we can control our effort. So that's the concept of tawakkul or tawakal that I apply in life. I mean, of course, when we think too much into the future, we get stressed over the final result. Who doesn't want to have good result? But if you put your reliance to God and you believe in yourself that you have done your best, I mean, God willing, it will. You will get what you want. Yeah.
I think I able to relate because being an Indian, being an Hindu specifically, even our Bhagavad Gita also have mentioned the similar thing. Means you do the best and just let God to take off the rest, you know. So I think it's very closely related. I think this is very, very relatable. Alright, also Mizi Wahid have inspired readers to overcome the fear of failure and take the first step with confidence. So did you, finishing this chapter, giving you a boost of courage, or are you taking up any new steps or ready to take up any risk in your life?
Okay, so I think coming back to age, back to my age, I'm a bit calmer now that I'm reaching the, I would say it's wisdom age.
Wisdom age.
Wisdom age. I think I'm not as hard as I used to be on myself when I was much younger. And brave new steps, one thing that I've been practicing now is, if I'm scared to do something, the more I'm scared to do something, I will do it. So that's me being brave and taking risk. And also I think that practices helps me to become more confident. Like, I used to be the person who sit just in the corner, like don't find me. I mean, I want to be invisible, but just like what I said, more scared. So I'm willing to take the risk. So yeah, that's me going out because I'm visible now.
So when we are talking about risk, so can we anticipate on the marriage invitation soon? That's the risk that I'm looking forward that you are ready to take or not.
Yes. If my mom watching this, she would be
very happy.
She will trigger me to find someone. No, not yet. No. When my mom said, "Don't say no, say not yet."
Not yet.
So, yeah.
Okay.
This. Okay, I'm saying.
Hello, auntie. Hi.
Not yet. Okay, mom.
Okay, all right. So truly inspiring. So before I let you go, since you are my best friend and you know me inside and out, so is there any specific reminder or lesson that you have read from chapter 18 that you think it would be personally relate to me?
Okay, so if it's not from the chapter, can I say that?
Can, yes.
Okay. I think I am very grateful and lucky to have you guys as my TM girlies. Okay, so I learned a lot from you guys. I mean, one thing I am amazed about you is how brave, how courageous for you to take on new adventure. Like when you do a lot of writings and write-ups for the articles. I'm not sure. I mean, you have so many. I mean, I'm so inspired by you to do that. I mean, there are times when you told us you are not certain whether this will work out or not, but you just do it. So yeah, I mean, not from something from the chapter, but I want to say you really inspired me. So
okay, I am gapo on me tomorrow.
Love.
Okay, thank you. I definitely needed to hear that. Thank you. So to wrap up things, could you summarize the single or the biggest takeaway that you want to carry everyday life from what you have read from the book?
Okay, so as the title itself, you are loved. I mean, of course, I think the title is it's not just loved by someone else, by others, but most importantly, to be loved by yourself. Okay, that's because I always say this to my student. If life can be challenging, but you can have so many people around you to support you.
True.
But if you don't start within yourself, then how to do it? So always remember to love yourself, put yourself first, not to be selfish, but for you to strive to in life, it's all start within yourself.
Agree that. Beautifully said, Balkis. Thank you so much for agreeing or saying yes for this podcast and sharing so much of positivity with us today. And to everyone who's listening, if you haven't picked up Mizi Wahid's You Are Loved, please go and grab one for you. Until next time, remember that you are always worthy, capable, and above all, you are loved. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.